Hi, I'm Kara Hettinger. For my DIY project, I analyzed the craft books of Kathy Ross, focusing on Christmas decorations kids can make, but also looking at crafts to make in the winter and crafts from your favorite children's stories. While the books don't explicitly state the intended age group of the crafts, Kathy Ross is an experienced nursery school teacher, and each About the Author section focuses on her experience developing crafts for this age group. Therefore, I assumed that the books were intended for preschool and kindergarten age children. Every book contained a basic content section that listed the projects in the book, along with page numbers for easy access. All the books also structured the activities similarly, with a materials section to gather what you need before you start, and easy-to-follow instructions with accompanying illustrations. The children's stories book also included an introduction that encouraged and gave suggestions for adapting a project to suit another story that they might read in the classroom or even at home, which I thought was a nice addition. Before beginning, my son and I gathered materials. We like to do crafts, so we gathered for multiple projects, and doing multiple projects also allowed me to test crafts from a couple of different books. My son is 6, and so he helped me also to demonstrate how well a young student could handle each of the projects that we attempted. For our first project, we completed the candy magnet. We did end up changing it a little bit so that we could use the bright colored pom-poms. We did a cupcake magnet. I used mini cupcake wrappers instead of a candy wrapper. A little bit later in the project, I customized it again to hot glue button magnets to the back of the cupcake, quote unquote cupcake, instead of using sticky back magnets, mostly because I already had button magnets. So it was nice to be able to customize that. Overall, the directions were really easy to follow. The project was short and basic enough to keep children's attention span, but it was fun. Allowed my son to be creative. He didn't have any problem with any of the steps, so that was nice, and it took us about 15 minutes to complete. The second project we did was the Santa tissue box. Again, the directions were pretty basic and easy to follow. However, Ross didn't provide dimensions or reference sizes for the cutouts except in looking at the pictures. While I didn't struggle with this, I could see how a young children, or maybe even a really non-crafty adult, could struggle with that, wanting a reference or a dimension to guide them, and that could be frustrating. Children also could use some help cutting out some of the circles, for instance. My son was having a hard time making the rounded edge. The project took us about 20 minutes overall. The last project we tried was the bow tree. I would say this project is perfect for as an independent project for children. It was really basic, but it allows students to use fine motor skills and also creates autonomy because it doesn't require a lot of adult intervention. It's not a huge stretch for children, but it is fun and entertaining for them. The only thing that I did to help my son do this one was I drew lines to help him have a nice triangle for the tree and for the base. It only took us about 8 minutes total to complete that. And there's the final project. A lot of positives in this book, or in all of the books. They're really, again, they're basic. They're laid out, so most of the projects are only 2 pages, 3 at the very most. They are engaging and, again, short, but not too basic that they're boring. Preschoolers can complete all of these, especially in the winter and Christmas books, with some aid. They're quick. They hold attention without being boring. The seasonal books like Winter display a wide range of activities as well, hitting on a lot of holidays or cultural activities, Lincoln's birthday, Valentine's Day, Groundhog Day, and a couple of the others you can see on the screen, which can follow or lead into discussions about those events. And then many of the crafts use materials that a teacher or a parent could have on hand. I had a lot of them on hand, which was really nice. And lastly, on the positives, the projects and directions allowed for customization. So I customized a couple of steps, but I also found other places where I could see projects being easily customized to suit a classroom activity or something that you wanted to do at home. Negatives, in the children's storybook, I didn't do these activities mostly because most of them were more complicated, and I didn't have the materials, or I didn't want to pay for the materials. Some of them were more expensive. They seemed a little more difficult just looking at the steps. They also required more prep. Occasionally the directions were detailed enough that I just couldn't see a preschooler sticking in there for the entire project, so I could see that being a downside of that particular book. Overall, these were really great books for preschool and kindergarten. They were fun, they were engaging, they could allow students to use fine motor skills or other problem-solving skills, and they allowed my son and me to work as a team and really find ways to talk to each other, which is great for communication. I thought they were really well structured for the most part. So thanks for watching, and if you're ever interested in crafts, I hope you pick up a Kathy Ross book.